First up, of course, we have Mariah Carey. Even if you're not familiar with many of JLo's feuds, I'm sure you know that Mariah Carey hates her. That's because Mariah has not been shy about throwing shade in her direction. These two have been feuding ever since JLo started to make music, and started to steal her shine. Then when Mariah was asked about Lopez in an interview, she famously replied, quote, "I don't know her." Years later, when Andy Cohen brought up the beef on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer Lopez played the whole thing off, saying, quote, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be friends with her." But then JLo was a little more savage on the Wendy Williams show when asked about the feud in 2016. Lopez said, quote, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met so many times." But Carey doubled down in another interview where she added that she still doesn't know Jennifer Lopez. When Mariah had a mishap of her own during a disastrous New Year's Eve performance, Lopez took a break from the high road and liked an extremely shady tweet about Mariah. The tweet said, quote, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." If you're wondering where this feud started, it all goes back to Mariah's ex-husband and music executive, Tommy Mottola. After getting married in 1993, Carey divorced Mottola in 1998 because he was very controlling. And to get back at her, Mottola started up JLo's career and did everything possible to make JLo a star, instead of Mariah. JLo sampled a number of Mariah-esque songs. There were even allegations she straight up copied some of Mariah's songs, but tried to make them more of a hit. All because of Mottola. But Mariah knows she still came out on top, adding, quote, "After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States." So basically the whole feud is over career competition and the fact that Lopez was in cahoots with Carey's controlling ex. Rosie Perez. You'd think that JLo and Rosie Perez would be great friends, considering how much they have in common. Both women are dancers, are Puerto Rican, and grew up in New York. But the pair are not close, and it would be more accurate to say that they actually hate each other. According to Perez's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, she has plenty of negative stories to share about JLo. In her memoir, Perez shared a story from the set of In Living Color. She wrote about Lopez, quote, "All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage," and added she was acting like, quote, "some ghetto bitch," screaming and pounding her chest. JLo ended up leaving that show after 2 seasons, but the feud between the pair continued, and Perez claimed that Lopez would speak negatively about her whenever she got the chance. Even worse, Lopez was allegedly two-faced. She would talk trash behind Perez's back, but be nice to her face. Brandy. In the midst of the Mariah and JLo feud, Brandy publicly supported Mariah, making it clear she does not like JLo. In July of 2017, Brandy took to Instagram to share a photo of herself hugging Mariah Carey with the caption, #SheKnows Me, an obvious reference to Mariah's infamous "I don't know her" comment about JLo. All the comments were flooded with people speculating over the caption, and the consensus quickly became that the photo was a dig at JLo. However, Brandy later addressed the caption, writing, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I didn't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable, you know that I am." Later adding that Mariah does in fact know her. Mariah supported the post by commenting, quote, "I sure do." Even though Brandy is trying to convince us it's nothing shady, I honestly don't believe it. Next up, Nicki Minaj. It's long been rumored that Jennifer Lopez is a huge diva, and the fight that her and Nicki Minaj had while on American Idol brought up both of their diva sides. In 2012, Lopez was a judge on American Idol while Nicki came on to perform, and things got tense fast. After Nicki finished performing, she went over to the judges table and asked, quote, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a little bit?" JLo then responded, quote, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Then Minaj took it up another notch backstage when she said, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." But she later added, quote, "We were just joking around." But it's clear the bad blood is still there. When Lopez performed at the 2015 AMAs, she sang a part of Minaj's song Anaconda. But I don't think Nicki got the memo that it was going to be happening, because when the camera panned to Nicki, she did not look happy. Fans totally saw the shade and started tweeting about it that night. Rihanna. Rihanna and JLo started feuding right around the time that JLo was seen getting cozy with Rihanna's ex, Drake. This all happened in 2016 when J-Lo and Drake took a photo backstage at J-Lo's concert. Once the photos came out, everyone assumed that they were dating, which probably got the attention of his exes. A lot of fans felt the whole thing was most likely a publicity stunt, but Rihanna took the rumors pretty seriously and lashed out online because of it. A source said at the time that Rihanna suffered, quote, the ultimate betrayal and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. This was because Rihanna and J-Lo were really tight at one point, and Rihanna even got support from J-Lo during rough times with Drake. Then in December of 2016, Rihanna unfollowed J-Lo on Instagram, making her stance very clear. Jenna Dewan. When the pair started alongside each other on World of Dance, they seemed like they got along great. Lopez was a producer and a judge, while Dewan was a host and mentor on the show. But sources revealed that when the camera stopped rolling, the women hated each other. One source said about their relationship, quote, Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. The insider continued that J-Lo is a micromanager who tells everyone else what to do. Because of all her input, Jenna felt excluded and felt like her voice was not heard. Although there is a chance that this feud is not accurate because when Dewan's team was asked about the feud rumors, they denied them. Ojani Noah. Jennifer Lopez has been married 3 times before. Her first and shortest marriage was to Cuban waiter Ojani Noah. Although their relationship ended in 1998, it's clear that Noah cannot stand her, and whenever asked about Lopez, he does not hold back his negative feelings. Back in 2006, he was actually set to release a juicy tell-all book about Lopez called The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. But before it was set to be published, Lopez was able to stop it with a lawsuit. She argued that publishing the book broke their confidentiality agreement, and the courts agreed. From that lawsuit, she won $545,000 in damages, and Noah was forbid from criticizing or casting in a negative light or otherwise disparaging Lopez. Noah's name was brought up once again when he threatened to leak an intimate tape of the two of them on their honeymoon. Lopez then filed a $10 million lawsuit against him. When asked why the relationship ended, Noah blamed Lopez, saying, quote, I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me. And finally, Jennifer Lopez herself. Nobody has done more to warn us about J-Lo's sketchy behavior than herself, and some of the things she's done in the past are too terrible to ignore. Back when she tried to score a role in competition with actress Claire Danes, J-Lo said some harsh things about her competition, saying that Claire Danes does the quote, same thing with every character she does. Then Lopez bashed Winona Ryder, saying that she was not a big fan of her work. And finally, Lopez took aim at Gwyneth Paltrow, saying, quote, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Then in a different interview, Lopez decided to take aim at Madonna, specifically bashing Madonna's attempt at acting. Quote, do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. Aside from dishing out unnecessary shade to other celebrities, Lopez also has a reputation for being incredibly rude to service people. One United Airlines employee told the press how much of a diva she was during her flight. Apparently, he asked if she wanted a drink, and she replied, quote, I just said, what can I get you to drink? But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. She turned her head away and told her personal assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Even though the stewardess was trying to serve her what she wanted, she refused to look, and made her assistant speak for her. It's so ridiculous and an unnecessary power play. But this interaction is nothing compared to the maid that was fired for asking J-Lo for an autograph. The maid later spoke with media and said she asked J-Lo's 2 assistants, who rejected the autograph. Then a day later, the hotel said that Lopez complained about the incident, and that maid was fired.
J-Lo's recent documentary showcased the intimate details of her star-studded life, but various celebs have shared a different view of the star over the years. Here are the top 10 celebrities who caught Jennifer Lopez stealing. Usher was left out of an important decision once, and it led to some legal troubles for J-Lo. The song in question here is Get Right. Get Right was written by Usher and producer Rich Harrison for Confessions. The album was released by Usher in 2004. The song was originally called Ride. The thing was, it wasn't good enough for the album, or something went wrong. Either way, it didn't make the cut, and vault tracks weren't common yet, so the song sat there until J-Lo was interested. Harrison decided to give the track to J-Lo, presumably without checking with Usher first if his reaction is anything to go off of. Usher claimed he didn't sign off on the decision and was quick to demand publishing rights. Obviously, the song made it out on J-Lo's side as it was released released and is now considered a fan favorite. Shawnette Harrell sang the chorus to popular J-Lo song If You Had My Love, but was credited as just a background singer. Having others lend vocals to songs is super common in Hollywood. In recent years, it's more common that people will sing the majority of their song, and other voices will truly be background vocals. It seems in this case, Harrell might not have been credited properly if she really did sing the chorus and J-Lo is just lip-syncing along. Likely though, J-Lo did put some vocals in there, mixed in with Harrell handling the brunt of it. As for crediting the person as a background singer, the vocals were mixed in a way that the background vocals typically were, plus there is no way to actually know if J-Lo was the one to sign off on that. Christina Milian is now a singer and actress. You might recognize her from the Netflix movie Falling in Love, the Kim Possible theme song, or the J-Lo song Play. Christina co-wrote the song and did record some vocals for it, vocals that can be heard on J-Lo's version of the track. But as we know now, that did not happen. But J-Lo did kind of steal her work. Not really, because she would have had to get permission, but you know what I mean. People thought maybe Christina felt negatively towards J-Lo. It turns out that is very much not the case. In an interview with Page 6, Christina got to clear up any rumors swirling around the internet. She said there is nothing malicious between her and J-Lo. She talked quite highly of the singer, and even explaining that she was okay not being fully credited for the track, saying hands down she killed it. She's so good, I love that song, I'm on the credits for whatever nature, as a writer and for singing backgrounds. There is credit for that. I'm also just so happy that she did it because she's an icon, she's amazing. It's funny when people talk about this being kind of a thing about me singing on the song with Jennifer. I mean, I have background singers on some of my songs. It's no different than Michael Jackson having background singers on songs or Britney Spears. This is what music is made of. You want a blend of voices, it makes songs better to me. She even clarified why the song went to J-Lo, explaining that she liked another party song she had written more, AM to PM, and figured that only one would make the album, so she passed on Play. J-Lo caught it and recorded it, doing some rewrites with Christina, and then it was off and hitting the charts. Ironically, it could be argued J-Lo's song, I'm Real, is not very real at all. Ashanti is the real deal here, at least when it comes to the chorus, and ad-libs, and the writing of the song. Allegedly, the song I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez was written by Ashanti. She sung the demo that was given to J-Lo. Usually artists, when they get demos, they just use it to see what the song will sound like. Then they re-record the song because it's their song now and they want their vocals. At least that's what one might think. In this case, and a few more cases that we've looked at and will look at, it looks like J-Lo did not re-record anything, just kept the demo vocals and the ad-libs. Ashanti received credit for background vocals, but the co-writing credit was nowhere to be found. So while J-Lo likely got permission from either the performer or the company, it wasn't a good look in the eyes of the public. To make the entire situation worse, J-Lo, who is Puerto Rican, used the N-word on the track. That was met with the appropriate response and callouts. I'm Real was so successful that Ashanti did write for J-Lo again, so there must not have been too much bad blood between the women. She came back to write Ain't It Funny, also adding some ad-lib vocals into this song. She did get to appear in the music video for this one. It's hard to imagine any J-Lo song being more popular than Jenny from the Block, but for a brief moment, all I have was the moment. While most of the song was J-Lo's vocals, part of the chorus was sampled from Deborah Law's song Very Special. Very Special came out in 1981 and J-Lo's song in 2002, so quite a bit of time between the two. Sony did get permission to use the sample, however, no one told the original singer, Deborah Law, so she took J-Lo to court. The case was dismissed, she tried again, and it was dismissed again. Specifically, she went to court over the sample, but that doesn't mean it was Law's vocals on the J-Lo track. The part of the chorus that wasn't J-Lo was a woman named Makeba Riddick. Riddick was with Rock Nation at the time. Makeba does have a connection to another famous track, Love the Way You Lie, featuring Rihanna. She produced Rihanna's vocals. This one is mainly a fan rumor and speculation. Kunela Cox was a background singer on Jennifer Lopez's tours and was possibly a vocalist on her hit song Love Don't Cost a Thing. Love Don't Cost a Thing is one of J-Lo's biggest hits, so it makes sense it would eventually be examined with a magnifying glass, or I guess just a good ear to pick apart to see if J-Lo is singing. Some fans would argue that in parts of the song, she isn't, that instead of J-Lo's vocals being heard, it's actually Cox. Cox is not that big of an artist, unfortunately, though she is very talented. She released some of her own music and albums back in the early 2000s, but they didn't do very well. A leaked demo caused people to listen to Lopez's signature track, Jenny from the Block, a little more closely, as it was rumored that J-Lo didn't even sing part of her most popular tune, and that some vocals actually belonged to Natasha Ramos. Of all the people on this list, Natasha is probably one of the most outspoken. She has used her multiple social media accounts to prove her involvement with the hit song. Using her X account, she tweets out her demo for the song, telling people to compare for yourselves. However, that was mainly in response to people saying she was lying about ever being involved with the track. Back in 2019, she tweeted a short summary of her involvement, writing, "I just want to clarify something. J-Lo did indeed go into the studio and lay down some background vocals over mine. So I wouldn't say she's so much lip syncing, however the backgrounds are predominantly me, some ad-libs and laughs as well." So that is nice to get cleared up. J-Lo is technically still singing her biggest song, just with a little more help than we may have thought. Social media star Samantha Barbash was the inspiration behind the critically acclaimed film Hustlers, produced and starring Jennifer Lopez. Samantha, however, does not appreciate the film and actually sued J-Lo and her company for defamation. Samantha shared her perspective on the situation in an interview with TMZ. She said, "They basically stole my story. I wouldn't sign my rights away. I wasn't giving away my film and TV rights for peanuts. J-Lo doesn't work for free, why would I?" Further claiming that 87% of the film made was wrong. Samantha's case was ultimately dismissed. Brandy might have been the one mad at J-Lo for taking her song, but she has also now accidentally, maybe purposely, roped herself into the feud between Mariah Carey and J-Lo. Let's start with the Brandy drama. Brandy wrote a song called Ride or Die for her album Aphrodisiac. The problem was there was a bunch of delays with the album, and for some reason those delays meant that Brandy no longer had the song and it went to J-Lo for her Rebirth album. Ride or Die did still keep quite a few Brandy vocals though, which I can only imagine added fuel to the feud fire. How did Brandy get into the decades-long feud with Mariah and J-Lo though? Well, she posted a picture with Carey in 2017 and captioned it #SheKnowsMe, to which Carey confirmed in the comments, "I sure do." This exchange might mean nothing to the average person, but to J-Lo fans this was a declaration of war. See, back in the early 2000s when J-Lo was starting to become a major name and Mariah Carey was releasing hits left and right, Carey was on a red carpet and the topic moved to Lopez, to which Carey replied with, "I don't know her." Such a simple sentence, and yet it ignited decades-long feud, so that's what J-Lo fans believe Brandy was referencing with her hashtag caption. But that one little comment on Carey's part could not have possibly been the thing to ignite the feud. Maybe the straw that broke the camel's back, but it certainly wasn't the first thing to happen between the pair. The first big step was probably, if you look at it from Mariah Carey's perspective, when J-Lo stole a never-before sampled song from her ahead of her album release. That was pretty bad. The song that had never been sampled before was Firecracker by Yellow Magic Orchestra. Mariah wanted it for her upcoming song Loverboy, so she of course applied for a license. The only thing was her ex-husband must have hated her because he also applied for the same song and unfortunately for Carey, beat her out. So J-Lo's track, I'm Real, got the sample, and it also featured vocals from another singer named Shailene Thomas. Presumably this fiasco is what sparked the flames of the feud.
Number 10, Mariah Carey. This celebrity feud is legendary, so it's only fair that we start off with this one. J-Lo and Mariah Carey have been at each other's throats since the early 2000s. In fact, most people remember the iconic line that Mariah told a German reporter, "I don't know her." Although it sounds hilarious, Mariah has maintained her negative opinion of J-Lo all these years. For example, an interviewer once asked her what she thought about Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez, and she responded by saying that they don't even belong in the same category for a very specific reason. Well, it's hard. You can't really put those two people in the same category because one is in a really different generation. They just started singing later. But when you talk about Beyonce, I think she's wonderful, she's great, she's a talented person. But it seemed that she forgot to compliment J-Lo as well. A few years later, Carey spoke to Andy Cohen and doubled down on her comments. Quote, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" It looks like it'll take a miracle for these two iconic performers to ever be on good terms. Number 9, Rihanna. There are several celebrities who can't stand Jennifer Lopez, but one of the biggest critics of the iconic singer is Rihanna. These two former best friends had a serious falling out in 2016 for the oldest reason in the book. They were fighting over the same guy. Before the feud began, Rihanna and J-Lo were friendly to each other and had no reason for animosity. But trouble started brewing right after Rihanna and Drake broke up. They had a summer fling that same year, which was pretty casual, but it definitely still counted. Girl code was broken when J-Lo started getting close with Drake almost immediately after. But the feud really became public when Jennifer posted a photo of her and Drake hanging out backstage at her show in Las Vegas with the caption #LoveHim. In fact, the two were even spotted hugging, and fans quickly realized that something very shady was happening. An inside source close to the star said that Riri felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and called Jennifer's behavior desperate. It must have been accurate because in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Lopez on Instagram. Number 8. Gloria Estefan. Cuban-American superstar Gloria Estefan was originally supposed to be performing at the 2020 Super Bowl alongside fellow Latina pop stars J-Lo and Shakira, but after seeing J-Lo's new documentary called Halftime, where the singer went on a rant about having to share the stage with Shakira, Gloria put her comments on blast. She didn't seem to agree that it was the worst idea ever to have the artist share the stage, and explained why Lopez got it wrong on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Quote, "Look, this is the bottom line. You have very little time, like 12 minutes or something, to get things on and off the set. So could you do it with one person? Yes. But I think they wanted to throw a Miami and Latin extravaganza, and they tried to pack it in as much as possible." The Grammy Award winner also confirmed that she chose not to participate for a reason, seeing as J-Lo got so worked up about having two people perform. Quote, "Okay, and imagine what J-Lo would have said if I was the third. I literally would come out, done a shake your booty and out." But she went on to insist that it was their moment and that she didn't want to go on a diet in December anyway. Number 7. Nick Cannon. The Wild and Out star took a cue from his ex-wife Mariah Carey's famous phrase to throw shade at Jennifer Lopez during his guest appearance on The Wendy Williams Show. While discussing Hollywood crushes during the Hot Topic segment, the 41-year-old first named Carey, his ex-wife and mother to their two twins, Moroccan and Monroe. Quote, "Number 1, Mariah, the amazing mother, superstar, singer." He then went on to name Halle Berry and Naomi Campbell as his second and third choices. A producer then suggested J-Lo as an option, and he just responded with, "I don't know her." After the audience erupted into laughter, the host added, "That was a joke for the lambs. Shout out to the lambs," as Carey refers to her fans as the Lamely. Cannon made it clear who he supports in the ongoing battle of the divas, and naturally he sided with Carey, so we can't really fault him for that. It's been a bit of a running joke for years that Mariah wasn't kidding and didn't actually know J-Lo personally when she gave that interview, but it was too late to clear the air, as the classic "I don't know her" line has gone down in history as one of the best ways to shade someone. Number 6. Rosie Perez. Both Jennifer Lopez and Rosie Perez have served as inspirations to the Latin community for over 2 decades, but they haven't always gotten along. They met back in 1991 during an open casting call for In Living Color. At the time, Perez was the show's choreographer, and Lopez was auditioning to become a member of the dance troupe known as the Fly Girls. Her audition was unsuccessful, but Perez saw a star quality in J-Lo and actually pulled some strings to get her in. But after she was in the group, it became clear that Lopez didn't get along with her fellow dancers. According to Perez, she was labeled as a diva right away. "All of the girls were coming into my office and complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage." Perez said that at first she didn't believe it, but then J-Lo screamed at her saying, "I know I'm good, I'm better than any of these girls and you know it." What's worse is, after J-Lo left the show and made it big in the music industry, she went on talk shows trashing her former choreographer. Perez also implied that J-Lo ghosted her. Quote, "I called her up, she wouldn't pick up. Frustrated, I left her an irate message on her answering machine. Instead of calling me back and hashing it out like friends do, she went on a major talk show and reiterated my lashing." Number 5. Brandy. Brandy has had a public feud with Jennifer Lopez since 2017, and according to Kiwi Report, she made it clear that she supports Mariah Carey going against JLo too. Basically, she posted a photo of herself on Instagram hugging Carey with the hashtag #SheKnowsMe. The caption was super perfect and a great reference to that famous "I don't know her" comment. So the whole thing tells us that Brandy is totally teaming with Mariah. Brandy's post exploded on social media and Lopez fans immediately took offense to it. Mariah saw the backlash and chimed in to Brandy's photo, commenting with a simple "I sure do." But the singer was quick to defend herself from hate comments and edited the caption shortly after posting it with, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny, can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." She totally doubled down on dissing Jennifer and siding with Mariah, adding, quote, "Also, I've met her several times. Like the several seats that should be taken, she does know me." Number 4, Nicki Minaj. These two have allegedly been feuding since 2012. It all started when Nicki was performing on one particular episode of American Idol at the same time that JLo was sitting on the judge panel. In a rather awkward moment, Nicki asked if she could come back on the show as a guest judge and asked JLo to scoot over. As a Latina artist hit back, she said, "I don't know if there's room for both of us." It was one of those joking moments that seemed like there was something else behind it, but nevertheless the two seemed to be just joking around. Even though Nicki told a reporter backstage, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." Okay, so now we're jumping to 2015 when fans swear that Nicki shaded JLo for performing her song at the American Music Awards. As she was performing a small part of Anaconda, the camera cut to Nicki in the audience looking less than happy with the rendition. The clip showed her emotionless face and made it seem like she didn't approve of the way her song was being used. Number 3, Ryan Seacrest. This incident gives Ryan every reason to hate JLo because it's pretty bad. Ryan Seacrest worked alongside the singer on American Idol and the two quickly became friends. But all that seemingly changed when the talk show host revealed that he flew down to Miami to celebrate her milestone 50th birthday, only to be denied entry at the door. Ouch. He recalled the whole story on Live with Kelly and Ryan and explained that he flew down from New York for only a few hours because he had to make it back in time for the next morning's show. But when he finally arrived, the doorman told him, "You're not on the list," to which he responded, "Clearly, there's a mistake. She invited me personally." But upon being denied, he checked the list and couldn't find his name. The doorman just asked him to wait, made a quick call, and was able to confirm that Seacrest was indeed on the guest list. But the host went on to say that he was the first person there and no one really got turned up until after he left. It would have certainly been a little embarrassing to say the least. Number 2, Cameron Diaz. Throughout the years, Jennifer Lopez has been known to speak negatively about her fellow actors, and it looks like it may have come back to bite her. During an interview in the late 90s, JLo explained that Cameron Diaz was just a lucky model who was given opportunities. She did mention that Diaz can be good when directed, but Lopez's past comments about Cameron's career allegedly made things super awkward between them when they both had to buckle down and work together in the 2012 comedy What to Expect When You're Expecting. Several anonymous sources on the set of the film claimed that the two stars did not get along at all during the shoot. In fact, it was reported that Cameron said the singer was a nightmare to work with. Quote, "She even said that Jen should stick to her day job, meaning American Idol and singing." According to The Insider, JLo demanded to eat at specific times, no matter what, and stops working when it suits her, and she had her assistant run over to her with food. This is what allegedly drove Cameron crazy. Another source claimed that the co-stars actively avoided one another while filming and tensions were thick. Number 1, Ojani Noah. The former couple were married on February 22nd, 1997 and got divorced barely 1 year later, in January of 1998. It was so long ago that you would think Ojani has moved on from the relationship, but apparently he's still holding on to a bit of resentment. In fact, Jennifer's former flame was out to make make a buck off their brief marriage by trying to expose revealing videos from their honeymoon. Ojani was even hauled into court after he started planning a tell-all movie based on the revealing home footage called How I Married Jennifer Lopez, the JLo and Ojani Noah story. The result? Well, she sued him for a whopping $10 million and demanded a permanent court order, blocking her ex from making any videos public. Ojani also threatened to write a tell-all book unless he was paid $5 million by the singer. His unpublished book alleges that JLo had multiple affairs, including one with Mark Anthony, during the 11 months that they were married. But a judge was not having it and awarded her $545,000 in damages and quashed the book, ruling that it violated a 2004 deal not to publish details of their relationship. Her team calls the movie an outrageous attempt to make money and received substantial compensation. So it's clear that he's still a little bit bitter.